I've always believed in God, and I think that doing stuff like that, because what I believe that there's beyond the physical material realm, that there is something greater at play, but it's hard for us to understand it. But I feel like something like DMT, it brings you closer to it, or gives you more of an understanding from it, or if anything, it breaks the chains to the physical world that we're conditioned by, and it takes away all that conditioning. Because I remember once I had DMT and I was like I was like, whoa, I'm doing that. Like, I'm controlling that.
But seeing you from like another perspective, you're just doing like Tai Chi. but you're like, this is such an ethereal, beautiful moment. Like, but the thing with DMT is you feel so connected to everything.
Yes.
Like if you go out, or mushrooms, if you go out, I wouldn't recommend it if you have like not a fucking pretty stable frame of mind. But if you are like in a pretty stable part of your life, if you can take like a small dose of mushrooms and go fucking sit in a forest or like outside in your backyard, like literally sit on the floor, or with DMT, you feel so strangely because you can see things breathing. Which is so. Do you find that?
In a way,
I can see, like when you look at grass when you're on mushrooms, you can see it like,
wow,
you can see it breathing. Oh, I can anyway. I can always see things like just life in things.
I remember watching the ocean once when I was on the shrooms, not the DMT. I was on the shrooms, I was watching the ocean, and it was like the ocean was breathing, like coming in and out. It was like inhaling and exhaling. It's crazy.
That's when you realise that everything is kind of connected in some sort of way.
100%.
Yeah, it's 100%. Just I really struggle with religion because of the profit and pedophilia and like the monetary gain but it's like any industry where there's like just fucking shit,
corruption, yeah.
And it's all been manipulated and skewed by people, and you can't trust fucking people, and you get atrocities that happen all over the world in the name of religion.
That's where I draw a line, or where I differ, because I believe in God and in Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, for sure. But I believe that evil can hide anywhere, and the evil will hide in the most sneakiest places. And I think that if there is a place to hide evil, it's obviously through the church or through some kind of religion, because you're masking it with the idea of and the perception of righteousness. So there's no better way to hide evil than behind the mask of righteousness, I believe. So I just feel like you can't blame God, or you can't blame the idea of religion and what its intended purpose is. You can't blame that for what human beings are doing, because you get horrible plumbers, and you get plumbers that are great guys. It's
any sort of anything. It's
not about so say the Bible or the religion is the hammer. If you give a hammer to a guy that's a good guy and a dad who'll probably build his daughter a treehouse with that hammer. If you give it to a psychopath, he's probably going to hurt someone with that hammer. So, but it's not about the hammer; it's about the person.
Talking. I'll grab you another drink.
Oh, good, yeah, if you can.
Yeah, continue.
But yeah, I believe that it's not about the tool that's being used; it's about the actual person or the thing using it. And so it sucks when I see religion get a rough ride, because I know that I believe in one religion, but I also believe that if other people believe otherwise, or another religion, I'd leave that alone. And I don't push my religion onto my friends or anything either. A lot of my friends are stoked for me that I'd found Christianity or religion in general, but they know that I'm not going to push it on them. I'm not focused on other people. The way I look at it is, and even being a Christian, I see a lot of other Christians judging other people, or even judging me about my journey with God. And but I don't blame Jesus or God for that. I just blame the people that are doing it, because me in my journey, I'm focused on me and my journey and my relationship with God only, not why isn't this guy doing this more, or why isn't this person doing this more. I think as soon as you start doing that, you take away from my focus is on me and what my journey looks like, for sure.
Do you take the Bible at like face value, like the stories?
I do, yeah.
You take them all as truth?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Especially the New Testament, for sure. I'm
not familiar with like
So the Old Testament is what the Jews believe, and Jesus Christ was a Jew, and the Old Testament was all about prophesying this savior that was going to come and going to, I guess, give people some kind of form of freedom, because there was a lot of slavery back then. So a lot of the Israelites were slaves to the Egyptians and the Romans, and they thought that this figure was going to come and be a political figure, like he was going to be horseback with this massive sword, be a big guy. And then Jesus came, who was obviously a very humble, dialed back guy, and he was, they thought he was going to ride a horse. He rode a donkey into Jerusalem. They thought he was going to be this person that brought them political freedom. He didn't bring political freedom, he brought spiritual freedom. So that's where the Jews and the Christians disconnect. So the Jews believe the Old Testament and nothing going onwards. They believe that Jesus was like a prophet, but they don't believe that he was the Messiah, that he was the embodiment of God. Whereas Christians go, okay, we believe that because Jesus did, and then New Testament. So Old Testament is before Jesus, New Testament is after Jesus, and the New Testament, I believe every single word of that. The Old Testament, I still wrestle with certain things, because I'm like, are these stories in here to act as, what do you call it? Like metaphors, and meant to act as just like stories to bring us to our own realizations, or are they things that actually happen? So the Old Testament, I'm still trying to learn more and more about it, but the New Testament, I believe that there was a guy named Jesus Christ, and that he came, and like, this is the funny thing, people always go, why Christianity? It's like, well, Christianity believes in the story of Jesus Christ. Outside of Christianity, every single other religion acknowledges the fact that Jesus Christ was a thing, lived, and was a prophet, and all these other things. They just don't believe that he was God. So that's the difference there. But this is still all very new to me. It's only been in the last year. I go to church every Sunday. Obviously won't be going
Every
tomorrow.
Sunday?
Every Sunday.
Really? Your kids?
Nah, so this is the hard thing for me, is that my wife is very rooted in her atheism. So she's atheist. She lost her mum at like 10 years old. So
That'll fucking do it.
She's got this gripe with God. She's like, you're worshipping the God that took my mum away from me.
That's one thing I like the really common thing to say. Like, if there is a God, why does he let all this fucking shit happen?
And it's the best one.
It's the biggest question, because no one can answer it.
It's the best one, and we can't answer it. And I'd be lying to sit here and say I have an answer for that. That's the one I wrestle with the most as well.
With I've always said, with religion, as long as it makes you a better person, you just fucking nailed that all over yourself. Lucky it's soda water from South Ave. That was fucking so funny. You tried to get away with it.
I'm picking you up, man.
As long as it makes you a better person, I don't care. Like, if honestly it makes you live your lifestyle better, treat other people better, and live like a way more prosperous life, then fucking believe in all of that. But if you can achieve the same thing believing in what you believe in, it doesn't matter what you believe, as long as you're just like doing the right thing.
Yes.
According to your life.
Well, that, to me, that's all that matters. Like, because through interactions with other people, you would hope that they're being the best version of themselves and treating people well if they're not religious, and that's all you can ask for. To be honest with you, I treated people well without it. It wasn't about how I treat other people. It's more so about how I treat myself, and how I what am I trying to say? That I can sometimes be bound to and confined to this physical realm, thinking this life is all that we have, and that my senses are telling me everything that's going on, and then there's nothing outside or beyond all of this. Because to me, I needed to believe that we are in a creation, so there has to be a creator. Okay, well, there's a creator, so what's the story behind this creator? And the story of Jesus Christ is the one that I find most relatable, and the one that I find most believable. Of course, any idea or story about God is going to be unbelievable. It's meant to be, because we're here, we're conditioned by things that happen on a daily basis. So anything outside of that seems so abnormal that it's like you can't even comprehend it. I don't think we're meant to be able to really like grasp the idea of God, or comprehend everything that God embodies or is, or exactly what it is or what's going on. But I think that we can grasp a small portion of it. And I think that Jesus came into this world sent by God to so that he could become flesh, and that he could relate to us, but then also that we could relate to him. But man, my life has changed a lot ever since stepping towards it, for sure. I've become more patient with my kids. Just things like Man, I'll be in the gym now. My gym is just full of chicks that are like influencer chicks, and you know what they look like. So, but if one walks past me now, I refuse to look at her because I'm married. And in the Bible, it says that even to desire another woman is a form of adultery.
Yeah, right.
So, like, it just keeps me honest. It keeps me, yeah.
Have you like dabbled in like any Terence McKenna books or?
I used to love Terence McKenna, yeah.
Or there was a bloke that went on Joe Rogan years ago now, and he wrote a book. I can't remember that. I was just trying to find it.
Joe Rogan's recently become a Christian as well.
Bullshit. You are joking. Really?
He's been going to church.
Really?
And if you've been watching his pods lately, he's become very curious.
Well,
like he had Wes Huff on there.
I feel like he's become a lot more conservative in his age as well.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I don't personally gel to heaps of his... I used to listen to every single podcast he'd upload from episode 200 to episode 1000.
Yeah, wow.
Every single one.
Wow.
No matter who the guest was. I definitely have grown apart from some of his belief systems. And, like, he's just matured and aged.
Yes.
And he's more conservative of a man. He has...
Like what? What's a good example?
Well, he just has more strong opinions on things. He's not as open-minded anymore, especially, and he makes a lot of things political.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a lot more of a political activist than he thinks he is now, and that's just not something I care for.
Yeah, okay.
Like
it's interesting.
I just don't. I like to live in my own kind of reality. I'm very ignorant by choice to a lot of things.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like really believe there's a power in ignorance is bliss because the world news doesn't affect me ever.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't care what's happening in. Like I know it's really sad to say.
I'm the direct opposite of that.
Because I know though, if I do
invest in it,
it will ruin my day.
Yeah,
like I will overthink. I remember, I'll never forget. I saw a thing once on the news when I was like 10 or 12 saying that there was a meteor going to hit Earth. You know how it happens every 5 years. There's like, a meteor could hit. That fucking ruined my like 2 years of my life.
Wow.
Because I was like, it's going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to happen. Like if I start looking into things, I start getting upset. If I start looking into fucking Russia and Ukraine, I'll be like, they're doing this, and then China's going to step in, and then fucking America's going to do this.
Stuff like that I stay out of, yeah.
But just I try and like be really ignorant. I like just keeping my life real lighthearted.
Yeah. Fair enough. I don't blame you. I wish I was more like that, for sure.
I
because
can be
I'm
too
the type,
inquisitive.
if there's a school shooting or whatever on the news
Can't
and I
do
see
it.
it in the morning, it'll affect me for the rest of that day, for sure.
I can't read into those things at all. It just fucking... People were so much happier when they didn't have access to the whole world's knowledge.
I don't think we're meant to be as in touch as we are right now.
No, fuck no, bro.
I think we're probably built to come across maybe 100 people in our lives because we're meant to be small, communities and stuff. But now we have access to so many other people, so many other people's opinions, so many other people's perspectives. And I think it's like very confusing. Sometimes I don't know where to land on something. I think I know, like even the Israel and Palestine thing.
You don't know what...
fucking hate that.
Depending what fucking news you're reading as well, it's different stories.
How do you find the truth? How do you find the truth?
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying before, this guy went on Joe Rogan and he wrote this book, and it's about how you need to go to the bathroom? Yeah, I'll pause it. Easy. All right, so what I was saying, Joe Rogan had this guest on years ago. If I find the book, I'll send it to you. It's this dude, and he's researches into like ancient histories of religion in ancient Greece and stuff. And the ancient Romans and Greeks would use these chalices to drink wine, but they'd spike it with hallucinogens.
Yeah, right.
And so like hallucinogens are really like deeply embedded in religious roots. It's like seen everywhere. That's why I can kind of understand, say like BC, when people was like forming these parables and stories, or that would be after Christ, wouldn't it? So that when it was all forming.
Well, Christ himself spoke in parables a lot. Like he would always talk in, not riddles, but in parables. But even Old Testament, like there's a lot in there as well.
Yeah, so I definitely can see, like, say you're in, we have no idea what it was like back then. We
No.
can know all of these historians and stuff, they all know better than us and they piece it together, but no one truly knows what it was like.
It's 2,000 years ago, yeah.
No one knows. No one knows what a dinosaur looked like. It's just a really or you can piece it together with the bones and stuff and this and that, but they thought fucking dinosaurs had scales until fucking 10 years ago. Now they say they got feathers.
It's like Chinese whispers, eh?
Yeah, and it gets miscued over time, but I can definitely see some blokes sitting down having these like really hallucinogenic, euphoric experiences with these hardcore hallucinogens and like branching over into that next realm where you go and piecing together these stories and like, do you know what I mean? Like have you heard the story of the burning bush?
Yeah, with Moses.
Yeah, that's an acacia bush. That's like the richest DMT bush you can have.
Wow.
And he's huffing it.
Yeah, right.
And then he's getting the commandments from God. Like,
Wow.
Isn't that fucking a spin out?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was an acacia bush.
It's an acacia bush. It's like the richest DMT
Yeah,
plant.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's just fucking lighting it and huffing it and huffing it. And then he's like looking to God for is it the commandments?
The yeah. So he didn't light the bush. It was already a light on top of this hill, and he was at the bottom of the hill, and he could see this fire on top. So he climbed to the top of the hill and saw the bush burning, and it started talking to him. Interesting.
Does that not piece together like that? That makes it more believable because then you're not reliant on spiritual entity.
But I feel even if I was to have DMT or that experience there, the second I break, I guess the chains to the physical realm, which is what happens when you have DMT. You feel yourself disconnect from the physical realm. I feel like as soon as you do that, you start to connect more with God. That's why they say if you fast, if you you go out into nature and pray and you haven't eaten for days and you pray in nature, you're more connected to God because it brings you out of the physical realm and your physical connection and more of a spiritual connection that is like tapping into what is beyond, you know what I mean, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can touch, taste and smell. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, there's books on it.
Wow.
There's books of like there's books on all of the like signs of hallucinogens and mind altering kind of drugs within religions and all that. And there's a book specifically based on like the spiked wine they all used to drink and fucking.
Well, this is the thing about I don't really want to smoke weed anymore, but I still do every now and then. But the way I look at it is weed, mushrooms, and like all these things they grow out of the earth. Do you know what I mean? So
it's free reign.
It's free range, and it's everything for a reason, right? Like it's here for a reason, obviously. So if it's meant to, provide some kind of medicinal benefits, then great. That's what it's here for.
Yeah, most people just punch 14 cones in a shed, listen to 50 Cent.
But it's the same with, look at wine. Like Jesus drank wine. Jesus turned water into wine. But in the Bible, it says that to drink a beer or wine is fine, but it's drunkenness that you should avoid because it pulls you further from God and it makes you make bad decisions and things like that. So
alcohol is the worst one.
Definitely alcohol is the worst one.
I've made 95% of my stupid life decisions while drunk. If you're doing like recreational drugs, it's usually mixed with alcohol.
Of course, yeah.
If you just railed a line and then went about your day,
you're not drink.
You're not really. If you just did that, I'm not advocating for this, but if you just did that, you probably wouldn't make that bad a decision throughout your day.
It's booze.
If you drank 20 beers,
it's booze.
It's going to be booze.
It's booze.